Good evening and welcome to Late Night Bride. I'm your hostess, Peggy Kelly, and tonight we have a very special show for you. The last time we talked to David Erickson and Jade Lewis, they were a bride and a groom, and now they're husband and wife. And what you just saw was exactly their day, the beginning of their epic day at the Wiltern Theater. So what are we going to do tonight? We're going to talk with a husband and wife, and we're going to talk with the people that made that come together that very special day. And where do we start? We start where every wedding starts. We're starting with the ceremony. So we'll be right back, and we'll show you how the ceremony began.
Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today. Marriage, that blessed arrangement, that dream within a dream, and love, true love, will follow you forever. So treasure your love today. From the Princess Bride.
So what do you think, everybody? Should I pronounce them husband and wife? Yeah. Now I need to hear this triumphantly. Should I pronounce them husband and wife? Yeah. Get this one straight. By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride.
So what can you say about a wedding ceremony that starts off like that? Well, let's hear what our husband and wife have to say about it. So seeing it from this perspective, how does it feel?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So how was it there?
It's hard
Being on
to,
that stage.
it's surreal. It's hard to describe in that sense that it was overwhelming and almost, like I said, out of body experience for me.
Yeah, to me it was mostly just great to see it all together. With
This was your big
everyone.
vision.
Yeah, it was.
This was your big vision.
And I couldn't. Yeah, so it all together, seeing it all together was still something I was just I reveled in, and even with the rehearsals and seeing it come together there, that it just gave me that opportunity to enjoy that moment more up on stage than anything else.
Were you present?
Ongoing. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So now seeing it on film, from this perspective, because you haven't seen this yet.
No, that was our first time seeing anything
Yeah.
from it. Yeah. It was still amazing. It's all still so fresh because.
Right, it literally just happened.
Yeah, it literally was just a week ago for us still. So we're still daydreaming in it as we go.
Yeah, you're like on day
anyways.
10 of marriage.
Yeah.
So how's it going so far?
Great.
Same.
Yeah,
Same.
same.
Nothing's
Actually,
changed.
Nothing's changed.
And we're still together, so that's a good
Yeah,
Totally.
we're still
Right,
together. It was-
right. And the man that made that happen is the one, the only, Alan Katz of Great Officiants. Now, I've known Alan, God, how long have we known each other? A long time.
Yeah, long
a good amount of time. Yeah. And we've done different things, but we have never done anything like
Quite
this.
like this, yeah.
And when David came to me with the vision, when you said, this is what I want to do, there was only one name I called. And I
But
said,
he wasn't available, so she called me.
and I said, call Alan, right?
Yeah.
And picked up the phone and tell the story about the two of you.
Well, I was really happy when you called me because for me, doing epic ceremonies is what, that's my strong suit.
Right.
And when I found out what you guys were doing, I was so excited because for me, as a performer, or they say ministainer, being up on a stage at the Wiltern is like one of my dreams come true. So when I found out that I get to do this at your wedding, I was so excited. I dropped everything I did. I actually reassigned other weddings that I already had scheduled to other people so I could concentrate on your wedding, because I knew that we were going to take what your vision was and we were going to take that and make it. I wanted to exceed your expectations. And hopefully I did that.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I think when I knew from the beginning, our first conversations with Peggy, that we knew off the bat we're not, you know, a religious. We're not hugely religious. We weren't looking for any kind of typical ceremony. We wanted something lighthearted, and that was more towards our personalities.
And that's key. That's key. I think sometimes we get caught in the shoulds a lot. You know, it should look like this. It should have these elements. And if it's not you, I always say, don't do it.
Yeah.
And you know, Jade, you were incredibly clear about, you know, the level of that it needed to be spiritual but not religious.
Right.
And to have that moment of spirit brought in, and it wasn't in this clip, but and I don't know if we will get it down the road, but talk about how spirit was added that day.
Well, I think, you know, when you're talking about spirit in a ceremony, spirit can mean different things. It can mean, you know, a higher power spirit or your relationship spirit. And I think in your case, your relationship spirituality was what was primal in that. What was the most important thing is telling your story.
Yeah.
How it happened to you. And for that, that's where you captured your spirit. Because your spirit was something, you know, different than many other couples because of how you met, because of your relationship, how it unfolded. And by you sending me the stuff that you did, I was able to take those notes and be able to interweave it into the ceremony. So we created that spirit, that spirituality of your story.
Yeah.
And I think that's what drove the whole thing home. Yes, there were comic moments. Yes, there were, you know, the traditional stuff. But when we got into the moments of your story, that created the spirit, the inner drive that drove everything else in the ceremony.
Totally.
And talk about the singing bowl, because to me, that towards the end, that was the moment of spirit, you know, that I felt literally brought everyone in the room. Everyone in the room came, because the vibration of the sound that went over throughout the theater was not just heard, but it was felt
it was powerful.
by everyone that was there. And that was like the seal of everyone that you had invited there. They knew why they were there. They knew that they were honored to be there, and that they had truly witnessed, which is what the ceremony is about, and that they had fully committed to supporting your marriage from that day. They had supported your relationship, but now they were truly committed to supporting your marriage. And that's different. It is different. There's a shift that happens in that moment of going from relationship to marriage in a very special way. You know, and you did a brilliant job with that.
You gave me a great note, actually, during the rehearsal of retooling the wording that I did in there. Instead of making it to scare away evil spirits or, you know, to get rid of bad juju, you gave me the good quote of making it, bringing everybody together and creating love in that room. And that was a great note, because it did change the dynamic of
Changes
what I did.
the tone.
And that's a great thing about being able to do things like this, is working with a great team, is having each other's back. Being able to know, hey, you know what, if we make this little tweak, this is going to sound much better. So your advice on that, you know, was integral in helping that little element. You know, singing bowl is a magical experience. You know, every time I've used it in a ceremony, it creates such a great hum. They're not easy to play if you've never played them before. But when we did it, it just captured something in that room.
Oh, we should have brought that.
Yeah, I should have brought the singing bowl.
I didn't think about that. Next time.
Next time.
Okay. You want to get married again?
Sure.
Okay, let's just throw this
I think I
one.
might have another one on my trunk
why not?
too. So.
You probably do.
Probably do.
You probably do. You know, with the ceremony, it's my favorite part. It really is.
Mine too, kind of, because that's pretty much my only part. So.
But for me, it's where to become one. You know, in that moment, and that everyone participates in that coming together, because they've each had an individual piece of your story. And when we went through the video, people got to really see and hear the pieces of how everyone that were standing up, with you on the stage, how they had come together. But but then at the end to do the confetti, it was the surprise.
Yeah.
Because we had taken them so far. And we had done it with love, and we had done it with laughter, and then we had done it with the vows, and then we did it with the rings. But it was like, how are we going to wrap this?
Yeah.
And it was perfect. And the one thing I love about you is that you will always step away for the shot.
For the kiss shot, yeah.
For the kiss shot.
Well, I think that's essential because I don't want to be in the picture where you're kissing. I saw a picture in my first year doing this. A photographer sent me a picture that the couple was kissing, and I'm like, above the picture. And from that moment on, I never did it again.
Right.
Because that moment, it's about you. It's not about me. So I try to get as far away from that picture. So when you have that kiss shot, it is pure the two of you.
And I'll say that was, I had never heard that before, because again, you look at every wedding photo I've ever seen in my entire life from all my friends and anything, the officiant's always there for the ring.
He's still standing there with the microphone.
Ring, he's there for the kiss, he never gets out of the way or anything. And it was interesting when you said you were going to step out of the way for it, I was more like, huh?
Why?
Why? I don't get it.
Yeah, well, as you saw in the clip, I didn't just step away. I stepped and I hid behind the groomsman.
Yeah, and
so I wasn't even anywhere in that shot.
Absolutely, and I didn't fully appreciate that until the next day when my best man there said, Alan was amazing. That officiant he got out of the way for your kiss. He told us then, listen, you don't understand yet, but you're gonna love the photos you get from that moment because he was so professional and in that to make sure that he stepped out for your guys' centerpiece.
Well, and that's the most important thing is after it's all over, all you're gonna have is the photos and the videos. Your memory fails.
Yeah.
All right. So everything, I always say this in the wedding, everything is about the pictures.
Yeah.
So in coordinating with the photographers and videographers and understanding what elements we're going to put into the ceremony is essential to make sure that when that memory comes out, when you're looking at those photos and videos, that you recapture that moment in its beauty and its awe, the way it's supposed to be remembered.
Right.
Instead of them all looking disjointed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because basically what we did, you had this show concept, and basically a wedding is a show. You're the stars. I'm the announcer. The wedding party is the supporting cast.
Right.
Your guests are your audience. And we wrote this script, and we performed it in front of everyone, and at the end, everybody gave you a standing ovation.
Absolutely.
And we put on the greatest play of all times.
Yeah. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to all of you.
And aren't you glad we did a rehearsal?
I am unbelievably glad we did a rehearsal. And that's, I think, another thing to this man's credit, too, is even for the rehearsal, and again, the levity of it, and, a lot of people were like, what, we didn't shed a tear the whole ceremony. It's like, well, we kind of wanted that in a way. We didn't want it super mushy or anything of that nature. We wanted it to be lighthearted and everyone, joyous in that moment. And even doing the rehearsal, he had a very unique way of leaving out a lot of what the ceremony was.
We were
his blah, 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 blah comments so we still there are elements of our own ceremony that we had no idea was going to be in there, which also brought another cute, unique element, a surprise element from either one of us as a whole during the ceremony, which was amazing.
We weren't going to tell you everything.
Well, surprisingly, I didn't know what I was going to say until I got up on stage. Because I have just some basic notes, and then I embellish on those notes and just take those, those written words and create around them.
Yeah.
Now, before we got to the actual day, we did a lot of pre-planning. But we also did another type of planning, which we're going to talk about next. So we'll be back in just a moment because there's a layer that doesn't always happen in a wedding, but it happened in this one, and it was absolutely key and critical to the success of that very special, epic day. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Late Night Bride. I'm your hostess, Peggy Kelly, and we were talking about planning. Now there's wedding planning and there's ceremony planning, but there's also social media planning. In our world today, let's face facts, folks, social media still rules. At least it has a part. And when you're doing something at the scale that this was happening, we really, and with the people coming in from so many different places, we wanted to communicate clearly and with some twist of fun what the evening was going to be like. We were dealing with a historic venue. We were also dealing with security, parking, attire, because Jade and David were very clear about the design of their day. And with that, we had to communicate every detail to our guests. And how do you do that? You do it through email blasts, and you do it through Instagram. Does any of this sound familiar? And you do it through Facebook. But you also do it through a lovely lady by the name of Shanna Forrestal, who is a guru in social media. So welcome, Shanna.
Thank you.
And thank you for doing such a great job.
Oh, it was a blast.
It was truly a combination of voice and fact and delivery on all of it. And I'm so glad that we did it. You know, I think it was brilliant of you both of you to think about this and say, you know what, we really need a plan.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a well thought out plan, because we started, you know, take us through it.
Well, Jade and David made a lot easier because they came in with an idea of what they wanted to do. It always helps when somebody has a clear understanding of a skeleton of like, hey, this is what we want to accomplish, and that helped a lot. But then it was a matter of taking, you know, their voices and their ideas and trying to make it as true to their brand and who they are, like who they really are, as possible. And like you were saying, juggling that line between communicating facts and then also keeping it fun.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it always helps when you have a good team. And so I just kind of took everybody's ideas and information and just tried to form it into something that felt like, you know, a Jade and David. And it's funny because I didn't know them before this. So I was like, sometimes I'm stalking their social media and I'm like reading about their friends. And Jade did a great job of writing up all these, you know, the background on their team and bridal party, and I felt like I really got to know everybody, and it was really fun, like taking a peek into someone else's world and then trying to really present their face and their brand and their ideas and their love to the world in a way that felt like them. Yeah,
you know,
Great to
quote
work
unquote,
with.
the facts came alive.
Yeah.
You know, it was. I loved all the intros for the bridal party.
That was great.
You know, so people knew, you know, already had a sense of who was standing up for you and why they were there.
Yeah.
I love the attire that we had a whole section on attire, you know, because it was truly black tie.
Right.
And, you
a
know,
lot of
it was
people don't know what that is. And like
yeah,
they did
it
a
was
great
black
job
tie,
of pulling visuals to
and
say,
it was evening
hey,
gown,
you know.
but it was evening gown too.
Right.
You know, so you know, short skirts were not in vogue. We didn't care how cool they were or how much they cost. It was like it was you know,
specific.
It was very specific
guidelines, and they did a great job of like showing people what that is.
Right.
And we saw the results of that. I
Right.
mean, when you see the video and the photos, it was fantastic. Everybody
Right.
looked amazing, but that was because there were clear things
Right.
set out. But they did a really good job. What I love about them is their sense of humor, because you know sometimes you have to convey facts and data through social.
Yeah.
Social is all about communication. It's about
Right.
me saying something, you speaking back, like that back and forth, and that was able to happen through those outlets. And here's the other thing that I love about their choice in doing this was that it streamlined communication for them. They didn't have time to talk to 100 people and say, where are we going to park, right?
Yeah.
But that's the power of social, and that's the power of the email newsletters and things like that, is putting out a large amount of information
Right.
in a way that everybody gets the memo, right? And then they can respond. And then also allowing people to feel connected to them and getting to know their wedding party and things like that, you know, before the ceremony, so that when you show up, even if you flew in from Florida or somewhere else, you feel like you knew some of these people. You know, I came in not knowing people, and I met one person that I actually knew before besides you guys, but I felt like I knew people. I saw, you know, relatives, and I was like, oh, I know them. You know what I mean? And like, it was
Absolutely.
so fun. And I think that was a brilliance on their part, was to find a way to use social media, not, you know, for what some people use it for, but as what it's meant for is communication and connection. And they made that possible. They made a choice and said, yeah, we're going to do that. And they gave me all the tools I needed to help. So.
And, you know, there was a wedding website.
Yes,
which was great.
it was beautiful.
You know, and beautifully done, you know, by yourself. You know, Mary did kind of just the framing, but
Yeah.
you really put all the contact
you.
in it. You know, and I think that you had great joy in
I did.
in writing about each person. And
Oh my God, I did, of course.
you know, that's usually where couples stop. They go, okay, we got the wedding website, and we're, you know, we know that'll give them accommodations and maybe parking
Right.
and what time to get there.
Exactly.
But it was really through the communications of the email blast, the Facebook posts, the Instagram posts, and that people really did feel that they were a part of the
Yeah.
party way before the party.
Absolutely.
I think that also gives us, it gave us another great thing too, on top of all of those amazing parts of being able to keep everyone informed, you know, have a group put together. So again, we had the Facebook group and we had our Instagram hashtag. So not only was it a great way to start forming that community of who's going to be there, who's with us, who are the, you know, who's helping support or do this for us, or
Right.
it was also a way for the guests to interconnect beforehand, and then even more so after the fact
Right.
is what we're getting now after the fact is all of our friends who took cell phone images, hashtagged us or posted them to our Facebook group and so forth. So now we've got all these other images and angles and stories and
Right.
you know, sub things that were going on at our
Sharing
wedding
now.
that are now shared in one central place that everyone that was there can say, oh my God, I remember when that happened, or yeah, I took that photo, that was great. And it's just been a phenomenal way to keep everyone, even post-wedding, still
In the party.
sharing, part of the party, still part of the party.
The
yeah.
party does continue.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because now it's your party of life
Mm-hmm.
in so many ways. Would you recommend that other couples do that? That they really at least have an idea and plan on that side of the ceremony and reception?
By using
Yes.
social media
By
and
using social
Facebook
media.
groups, I would absolutely say something. I mean, you started getting that way with the website, which has been, I guess, I want to say more of a standard for
Right, it
weddings
is.
for the
It
last
is.
decade or so, I would say. But for it to have that new element of communicating beforehand with everyone, like you said, putting forward information that we need or any changes of this or that, or just simply telling people about who's in the wedding, and having us all have a way of forming that community of our, you know, that group, that community, that bond that we all had for this event, is invaluable to me in my mind, and I couldn't see why this isn't. Almost to a fact hasn't become more of a norm already.
I have to tell you, this was the first time that I've used it with my couples, and it is now going to be a standard.
Yeah.
It changed how I thought about things. I saw how smoothly it went, because I think people get overwhelmed with it more, and so they go, no, I'll just move that over there. Shannon and I were talking about, you know, putting together, you know, packages so that couples can easily do this in the future on that. As I always tell you, our time goes by so quickly, and it's time for us to wrap this segment up. So is there anything that you want to share or tell these two lovely people who supported you on your day that you haven't already said?
Oh, well, no, I'll just reiterate that both of you, I'm so grateful to have met you. You provided something that was so special and profound, and it touched every single person that was there besides us, and that's a big deal. So I appreciate you just infinitely, like, honestly, I could cry.
For Alan, just the amazing job, the professionalism, the levity of it, the fun, everything that made the ceremony just 100% enjoyable. The process of getting there was a cake, you know, super easy.
Right.
Just give him some notes, and he ran and made an amazing ceremony that we again got to enjoy. And if it wasn't for Shanna and her help with posting the information about everyone, and then creating this environment so that everyone can say, "Oh my God, you know, your officiant did a great job. Oh, here's a photo of this, here's a photo of that. Oh, this was such a great time. Thank you so much for having us." Without her having that all together for us, we wouldn't be able to still be, kind of glowing or rolling in what happened a week
and
ago
here's
now.
the part. It's like a ripple.
Yeah.
And this wave just keeps going and going and going, and that is part of the beauty of social media.
Yeah.
And that.
And this wedding would not have been what it was without either one of them, or any one of these three amazing people, right?
Well,
now,
love was
so.
truly in the Erickson.
Love was in the Erickson.
Hashtag.
Hashtag. There we go. Hashtag. I want to thank you, Alan. You're always a joy. Shanna, we've done things together. I actually did your wedding,
Yes.
which was extra special. And guess what? I did your wedding too.
Amazing.
Don't tell anybody. I did. I didn't do it. You did it. You allowed all of us that are here to come into your heart and come into your lives so that we could take that and bring it back to you live. And that's what we did. That's all we did. Epically.
Epically.
So from Late Night Bride, this is Mr. and Mrs. David and Jade Erickson, Ellen Katz, Shanna Forrestal. I'm Peggy Kelly, your hostess, and we're going to talk more with Jade and David, but for this night, we're going to say good night from Late Night Bride.